guys, this is Carlos Phoenix with the Indie Lounge, and today I have a special guest. I have Rogelio Salinas from Texas. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
I'm very good. So if you guys have been watching the Lounge Network at all, just recently I posted a web series called Resident Alien, and which was directed by Rogelio. And he is a director who apparently has been doing music videos and acting and all that type of stuff. But let me, introduce and have you explain the things that you've been working on and doing.
Sure. Well, I want to say thank you for this interview. I greatly appreciate it, and thank you for hosting the the Resident Alien on your website as well. It's really nice to see it up there. And,
yeah, I enjoyed it very much.
Oh, thank you. And it's a comedy. We've been doing some way too many serious projects for a while that we kind of needed to throw a comedy in there. In fact, I think the last comedy we had done was a couple years ago. It was a film called Wife in Shining Armor, and you can see them all. You can see that one along with all the Resident Alien episodes, all those on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com Odyssey DVD. So you go there, you can see all our music videos, all our short films, Resident Alien, and we have another music video that we're getting ready to release probably in the next few days, hopefully, for one of my favorite bands called Decoded Feedback. It's for their amazing electronic track called Another Loss, and so keep an eye out for that one too. That one's gonna be coming.
So you were mentioning that particular band hasn't released an album in 16 years?
No, that was a different one.
Oh, my bad.
That's okay. No, Decoded Feedback, they just released this album last year, the album that we did the song off of last year, and they're in the process of recording a new one. The band I was talking about before is called Die Krups. They're considered the godfathers of industrial music, and they haven't released an album in over 16 years. So, and they've been around since 1981, so they've had several albums, but this is their first one. And I was able to connect with the main guy behind the band through Facebook, and I told him, look, let me send you my demo. If you guys ever need a music video, let me know. I'm huge fans of your music and your band. They're one of my favorite bands. And I was surprised that he said, well, let's try and get together on it. I'm like, okay, sounds great. And he lives in Austin. I live in San Antonio. So we filmed, we ended up getting together, but they were going to be releasing their single. So we had to get a video produced and created and directed right away. And I didn't think it was possible. I really didn't. But he had told me about the guy who directed their first two music videos back in the early 90s. And he said that this reminds me of that, and you remind me of him because he didn't have a budget, he didn't have much time, and now he's one of the biggest music video directors right now. He's done music videos for everybody. I mean, he does music videos now for like Rihanna, Eminem,
wow. Very cool.
Katy Perry, and I think Coldplay and Faith, tons of bands. And so I was inspired, and so it's a lot of sleepless nights and a lot of thinking, and we worked together cohesively to come up with a storyline. We set it in a post-apocalyptic, a bunker that was created in my garage. And so my wife and I stayed up till late at night creating this post-apocalyptic bunker.
Kompromiss. Erlösung hast, dann wartest du umsonst. Wir sollen dir vergeben, du verdienst, was du bekommst.
And then we filmed that, and then in Austin, we filmed the other half of the video, and I was working on another project in Austin, so it worked out. But during the breaks, I was editing the video. Within a few days, came out with a final video, and it just blew up. It's the most popular video that I have on YouTube. It's not a mega popular video because the band's not in Europe. They're popular. In the U.S., they're decently well known, but they're more of a underground industrial band. But it's that one video has more views than like the other 40 videos I have on my YouTube channel. So it's done pretty well. It's not getting like 50 million views like the Lady Gaga videos and Miley Cyrus videos and everything, but but like I said, it freaked me out to see how many people loved the video and how it took off, and I was being contacted by bands and different people about doing projects. But my full-time job as a media producer for a company here in San Antonio, I have, that's what pays the bills. That's what I need to do. And so these like Resident Alien, these other projects, I do them on usually in the evenings or weekends when I have some time.
Kind of like the way I do this show, for example.
There you go. Yeah.
Now, to touch upon Resident Alien, because some folks may not have watched it, explain a little bit as to what that's about and how you came into putting it together.
No. I'm just kidding. No, actually, it was. Well, what happened was it was earlier this year. Was it earlier this year, late last year? I had been contacted about myself and several other local producers had been contacted about sending in treatments for a web series that they were planning on doing for a local film festival called Cine Festival that happens here in San Antonio. Actually, I think it's the longest running Latino film festival in the country. And it's and so I sent in this idea for Resident Alien, and we were one of the finalists. But unfortunately, I don't think our movie, one of the criteria to be selected was product placement. And the one that won actually was perfect for product placement. It really was. In fact, the character comes out holding different products like a beer, or he was a lucha libre guy. And so that worked out perfectly for product placement and everything. And but I'm kind of glad it didn't win because it gave us time to create it the way I envisioned it. Because had we done it for the festival, it would have been rushed. It wouldn't have come out the way it ended up coming out. So I'm grateful that we actually had the time to do it. I connected with some wonderful actors here in San Antonio. And I'm just very grateful that I got to work with these people and we're able to create this satirical sci-fi comedy that focuses on a character named Charlie who thinks that there's a pending alien invasion. So episode 1 focuses on him panicking, freaking out. He runs into his house. He calls his only friend. He's a weirdo, so he only has one friend in the world, Elliot, who's asked him, dude, what's going on? Why are you panicking? And he tells him it's aliens.
Aliens?
And then episode 2 is where he explains why, and that's where the satire comes in. It takes a satirical look at how some people see certain Mexican and Latino customs.
First, I've noticed that they speak in very strange tongues.
Lista para el plan de esta noche. Te llevas todo lo que necesitamos.
And I've noticed them eating this strange, gooey material and drinking odd green liquid. The mothers of this species also use a bizarre weapon to discipline their young. And those they babysit.
Like Dia de los Muertos, Lowriders, Margaritas, Barbacoa, all these different, smacking a piñata. all these crazy things. And what happens is you get to see it from the eyes of Charlie and how it looks freaky and scary. And then you also get to see it from Elliot's point of view, where he explains you're just going overboard. You're freaking out. You're panicking. You've done it many times in the past. And then episode 4, I won't give too much information on it, but if you check it out, it sums up the story there. And it was fun to do. It was great to be able to work, like I said, with all these wonderful actors and with some wonderful crew. But the 2 longest scenes, which were Charlie's by the door, which covers 3 episodes, and where Elliot's sitting on the sofa talking to him on the phone, that was me and the actor. So I had set up the audios, did the video, actually, and they hadn't learned their lines. So the way we did it was I actually read their lines. I would kind of perform their lines for them, and I just would keep the camera recording, and they would imitate me and repeat the lines back. So it was a very interesting thing to do. And one of the actors who played Elliot, we did one 35-minute continuous take to get all his lines in. And when it was done, he said, and this guy's done some crazy things as an actor, he said, that is the hardest thing I've ever had to do as an actor, because he had to learn, like I'd repeat like a few sentences or a paragraph, and he'd have to repeat it and perform it back to me. And it took some time. It took some time to do it, but he did a great job. Is a local actor named Michael Maponga, and the guy who played Charlie's also a good friend of mine who I got to work with on another project. And when I wrote the script, it's a actor filmmaker by the name of Taylor James Johnson. I couldn't picture anybody else that I knew locally playing that role except for him. So and he did a great job. He was awesome.
That's very cool. Now, we were talking a little bit earlier, and you had mentioned a film that you had worked on, and that your wife was the lead actress.
Yes.
So, can you tell us a little bit about that one?
Yes, that was one of the reasons we wanted to do a comedy, because we did this short film called Tyler's Gift, and it made me cry quite a bit when I was filming it and in production. But I think a lot of that was based off my wife's amazing performance. She is quite an actress, and we actually met in theater class back in college. So she's been the lead in quite a few of our films, and she's always done an amazing job. But Tyler's Gift is a story of her character. She's an army widow. She loses her husband, who is captured and executed in the Middle East. And what happens is, several months after his passing, she loses her one and only son, Tyler. He gets hit by a car as he's playing basketball outside. He gets in ball goes into the street. He goes after and he gets hit by a car. And then what happens though is he's dying. They ask if she's willing to donate his heart, and she does, for this little girl who wouldn't have survived without it. And then about a year later, she gets to meet the little girl, and she actually puts her ear up to the little girl's chest and gets to hear her son's heartbeat for the first time since his passing. And as she's doing that, she remembers, she's remembering him as a baby, as a toddler, and as his age right before he passed away, and then with her husband and her son together. So she's remembering all these beautiful memories as she's listening to her son's heartbeat. And so that was, it was tough to film. But it was just such a great, such a beautiful story. I just felt the need that we had to do it. But now, after the tearjerker like that, and it's okay, you don't have to cry, Carlos. See you rubbing your eyes there. But we thought we need to do a comedy, and Resident Alien was just the right thing for it. And so it worked out. And Tyler's Gift has done pretty well. It's played in several festivals. It won Best Film at the Short Shorts, the Judges' Choice, and it's different though. It's experimental because there's actually no dialogue in the entire movie. There's nothing spoken on screen. It's only narrated. There's only narration. The characters don't say anything on screen. So
wow.
You have to actually see that.
That's pretty sick. Now I have to watch it.
Yes, you have to watch it.
And I'll get some napkins.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Now another thing we kind of briefly got into a discussion, and for those who this is all done live, the cameras and all that stuff. So you'll notice that his webcam sometimes will freeze up. It's not your computer. It's it's a connection issue. But okay, that being said,
this is my face guy.
There it is. So now it's stuck in that screen, and we'll have the whole show like that. We talked a little bit about what your influences were in respect to being a Latin person, and how that much has influenced the work that you do.
It's been very influential in certain aspects and not influential at all. Because what happens though is I'm trying to create more stories that are universal. I think Resident Alien is actually probably the most Latino-oriented project I've done. I mean, it's really, like the music videos I've done have been more for electronic bands, industrial bands. I'm not the biggest fan of like the Hano music. I don't, right. Different things. I do love, a lot of Latin music like Maná. I love Maná. I love Santana. I love, different artists like that. But, like I'd mentioned, being a Latino, it can be a blessing or a curse, especially for independent filmmaking, because for indie filmmakers, there was this wave for a while that if you don't make your movie about immigration or, drug dealers or thugs, really, it's not as accepted by, like for example, there's some Latino film festivals I had submitted Tyler's Gift to or Wives in Shining Armor to, where the lead is an Anglo, which was my wife. And I noticed when I'd see the lineup, it'd be immigration, gangster, drugs. It's like, wow, we got to diversify our projects here because if that's all we're pumping out, that's all they're going to see us as, unfortunately. And we don't want that. But there's a lot of people who are influential, like you, mentioning Robert Rodriguez. I don't know any indie filmmakers out there who weren't influenced by, especially Latino ones, by Robert Rodriguez with El Mariachi. And, you see what he does. He likes to create a lot of universal stories. Like I said, I don't know if he'll ever win an Oscar for the type of material he does, but he's innovative and he's creative and he does his own thing, which is really cool. And, but, I've been very influenced by, mentioned actors like Edward James Olmos. Edward James Olmos is easily one of my favorite actors. I was blessed enough to work with him on Selena back in 95. Was it 90? No, it was 96.
Lucky.
So I got to meet him, chat with him. Real great, nice guy. And he's been such a great influence. And it's great to see that he gets the respect he deserves. One of my other favorite Latino actors is Esai Morales, who's actually a Facebook friend of mine. We've kept in touch. He's actually seen some of our work and he likes it. And he just said he's telling me get to work on a feature, and I'm like, I will. I just need to make time and money. That's what it's all about. And I told him once I get a feature rolling that I would love to have him be part of it. And of course, got to raise the money and got to make the time for that. And but you see Latino. I think right now we're at a point where Latinos are a little more accepted in Hollywood in different roles. But at the same time, we're still not at the level we should be. In fact, I make fun of that in Resident Alien, where I say one of my lines is, I'm talking about how we've influenced all these different sectors of the government, of Hollywood, and then I say, well, Hollywood, they're still a little hesitant to allow Latinos in there. But anyways, it's. But there's a lot of great Latino actors out there, and like I was mentioning, Esai Morales. I think, for example, his performance in La Bamba, which everybody loved as Bob. One of the most underrated performances ever. My cousin and I, my cousin who passed away several years ago, who was very influential on me working on films. Every year when Oscar time would come around, we'd mention, gosh, who missed out on being nominated this year? And we'd say, biggest Oscar robbery nomination period was Esai Morales in La Bamba. He should have been at least nominated. I thought his performance, and we used to always chat about that. It's like Sean Connery did a good job in Untouchables. And he's a great actor, but Esai's performance as Bob was just so much more. It had so many more levels, so much more to it than Sean Connery's did, that it was just a shame to see that someone with that caliber and that kind of performance didn't even get a nomination. In my opinion, if Sean Connery, they thought he deserved to win, Esai should have won. He should have walked away with that trophy. But and Edward James Olmos, I think that guy is just such an amazing actor as well. And they're still working on their career, so God willing, they'll get that right role out there and get the attention they deserve, because they're great actors, and I would like to see them flourish. And there's many other great Latino actors out there and filmmakers who deserve to just do more and get more. But they get, a lot of them get typecast as, well, you're Latino, you should do this, you should do this, you should do a movie about this. And it's like, no, I want to make a serial killer movie. I want to make a romantic comedy. I want to make a giant sci-fi or comic book movie. No, but that's, you're Latino, you should be doing about this other stuff. No, it shouldn't always be that way. So that's why I said it's good and bad. But I feel blessed to be a Latino.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you completely in respect that I don't think all Latin or Latino-made films have to be about the Latin culture, very much like in the old days where a lot of black films had to deal with the black culture. Now they seem to be a little bit more rounded off and generic in respect to the audience that they appeal to. If you're doing a love story, most love stories should appeal to general public.
Exactly.
And I think if you can do that, if you can successfully do that, even if you do make it a little bit about your culture, make it appeal to a general audience, and I think success will follow. But well, that's very good. Now tell us a little bit about your background. When did you start doing films?
Sure.
Like how did that suddenly pop up? Because you said you didn't go to film school. So let's give us a little picture there.
My film school was hanging out with my cousins when I was back in college and grabbing my uncle's VHS-C camera and just filming. That's all we do. We would, we'd hang out, we'd play video games, we'd play sports, just hang out and watch movies. But then we got this idea. It's like, let's come up with a little story and film it. And then so we would film it, and then we would and then as technology advanced, our productions would get better. We'd come up with goofy, silly stories, and we'd film a movie, like a 10 to 15 minute movie, in like less than 3 hours. And then we would turn around and add music to it. At first, our music was a boombox in the room, just playing music in the background. And so we would, and our editor was two VCRs. So. Wow. So that's that, and it was fun. We enjoyed doing it, and we'd love to see the outcome. And I'll never forget, once we started moving up, we started working with DV video. We started working with all this different equipment, all these different things. Yeah, there you go, mini DV cameras. And then we started working with high definition. And now, Resident Alien and most of the productions we've been doing, we shoot on Red. We shoot with a Red 1.
Wow.
So and some with DSLRs. And it's just great to see how technology has allowed indie filmmakers to be able to create something, to be able to use the same tools that they're using in Hollywood to create our productions. And of course, we still don't have the budgets, and we still don't have, the large crews that they do and everything. But it's nice to be able to create something that can still be out there and entertain, and can look like something that you would see in a movie theater.
Right.
So, but yeah, it was basically being with my cousins, and I thank them for doing this. Especially, like I said, my one cousin who passed away, we were all in the films. We'd all take turns filming. If we weren't in the scene, we were filming. if all of us were in a scene, we'd put it on a tripod or on a table or whatever and just film. But it was fun. I mean, we used to just create some weird, wacky stories. I have a separate YouTube channel for all those old videos because we didn't know about music licensing. So all we did was use all our CDs and music. So we have a movie, for example, called Disco Cops. We actually did 2 of them, Disco Cops 1 and 2. And see, there's a Universal movie. There's a Universal theme. And we had used, I think, about half of the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack for that movie. Wow. And then other disco songs. So if we really wanted to release that, we would go broke just for the music licensing. But it's online, you can enjoy it, and it shows where we came from, our roots, and how we got started. And then eventually, I did a music video for over 10 years ago, for my stepsister's band called Wormwood, and that was the first time I actually started looking at this seriously. Like, I want to learn more. I want our productions to look better, because the music video was so well received that people were like, wow, that came out cool. That was really nice. And so it gave me more interested in editing, cinematography, screenwriting, everything. So I wanted to learn every aspect I could about production. And most productions, that's what we do. I'm the post-production team on all our productions.
Now, what do you edit with?
Premiere.
Really? Okay.
I used to edit with Final Cut, and I used to edit with Corel Video Studio before that, and I still use that one for tiny projects. But Premiere is awesome now. I mean, Premiere is basically what a lot of people called Final Cut 8. I still use the new Final Cut Pro for a few things, but not for too many things. I prefer Premiere. And
I'm a Final Cut X person.
Final Cut X? Oh, yeah, you do?
And I used to do Premiere ages ago. I did Final Cut Studio. And Final Cut X, to me, as much as a lot of people complain about it, the improvements they've made on it are so ridiculously insane that I can pop out videos in very little amount of time. I've realized that a lot of the tools, although great tools and necessary tools, particularly for filmmaking, are very powerful. On X, they're almost not necessary. They're just there's so many things that it takes care of for you that you're just like, okay, well then that's done. Next, especially multi-camera shooting with Final Cut X is phenomenal. But
I'm actually using Final Cut X to film to stabilize some footage I shot of the moon for this music video we're working on.
Okay.
But it's just because it's on another computer. I have Premiere CS6 on my other laptop, and that's what I like to use for as much as possible, because it has. I love Premiere is just, to me, I'm used to tracks, and with Final Cut Pro X, here's the way I see Final Cut Pro X. That D. Kroop's music video, I spent 3 days trying to edit that video on Final Cut Pro X, and I gave up on it. I said, forget it. This is too much of a pain. It's got the timeline. What is it called? It's not even called the timeline anymore, or it is a timeline.
Yeah, it is.
But without the tracks, the trackless timeline. There was too many little glitches with it, too many things. I get more precision editing and more precision, frame by frame editing with Premiere, and I was able to do in Premiere in 1 day, more in Premiere in 1 day than I was able to do in Final Cut Pro X, what I've been working on for 3 days, because I just started over. I got frustrated. With red footage, Final Cut Pro X is good to a point, but it's also Premiere works better with it. Okay. Premiere, in my opinion, you have more options. You get more precision. With DSLR, I've done a few DSLR productions on Final Cut Pro X. I think it's excellent for DSLRs, and I think it's got some other great features that I wish Premiere had.
Yeah, the green screening is insane on it. They did a lot of impressive jobs on it. Again, I think it caters to a particular audience. Yeah, I don't think I could do a feature film on Final Cut X.
No.
Yeah,
I did a commercial. I did like a 30-second Doritos commercial on on Final Cut Pro X, and it was perfect. It worked fine.
Mm.
I did it quick. Like you said, you can knock them out real fast. But this 3.5 minute video for D Kroops, which is called Risco Factor, that's the name of the song. I had to stop working on that one and move everything to Premiere, and it worked much better.
Okay.
So, but that's, like I said, it depends on the production. If you're doing
Right.
DSLR, quick shoot, something like that, you know, I think Final Cut Pro X works great. I'm not against either one. I just prefer Premiere.
Actually, I have Premiere also. Just haven't come up with a project to use it with.
Yeah.
Too many layers.
Too nice. Yeah, the Premiere. I mean, it just, like you said, it depends on the project.
Right.
But yeah, I love editing. It's I don't think I've allowed a person to edit any of my projects yet outside of myself. It's I've shot some I've been hired as a cinematographer on certain projects, and I'll give them the footage,
Right.
and they work with it. But I've never, on my own projects, I've never actually had somebody else edit my work. I feel like I need to be in there and cutting it up and piecing it together myself, and I prefer doing that. I love doing that. It's fun. Mm-hmm. It's and then I just recently learned how to do After Effects. As you can see in the episode 4, that was if After Effects I have a love-hate relationship with, because if it's, if you have to do motion tracking or certain things, if you have it well lit, not too much movement, it's perfect. But if you have shadows, or it's not well lit, or you have a lot of movement, it's a nightmare.
I can imagine. Yeah, it's definitely a high-end tool for sure. So
yeah, it's a great tool though. I'm anxious to learn how to do more with it. I just haven't had the time to mess with it too much.
Very good. All right, so let's round this off. So what any other projects that are coming up for you? I know you're working on that music video, but any other films that you plan on doing, or what's your future?
Well, eventually I'll die. I think we all will. So I'm hoping to get to heaven. And, if, as long as giving my life to Jesus allows that, then that. But not that far in advance. You want it
let's
more
keep
soon.
It closer to.
I've been getting a lot of people contact me to help out with projects, and San Antonio is great. And also, like being Latino, Latino in filmmaking, it can be a blessing and a curse, because San Antonio, so much talent here. There's a lot of talent, a lot of good people, wonderful people. I don't think I've worked with anybody that I haven't enjoyed working with, and that I wouldn't work with again. And so I like San Antonio. The problem is that nobody wants to pay you. So. I
think that's a general rule in independent. It's a very difficult thing. You can an example. You can afford a camera. You can buy a $200. Not even here. A little old camera here. You can buy a $100 HD camera, and come up with some kind of production and call it a film. Exactly. Maybe not a film that's going to show up on a big screen theater, but with the internet. It's open doors and stuff. The problem is that people still need to make money doing this. So yeah, I can understand. Everybody wants to have a camera. Everybody wants to do a movie, but then they don't realize there's an entire budget involved.
Exactly. And technology has opened a lot of doors for a lot of people, which is great. I think, as much as I love my Red, I think what's even been more revolutionary for lower indie films have been the DSLRs.
Right.
Because not everybody can afford a Red.
Right.
They had them on sale for about $4,000 recently, which is
Oh.
unbelievably low for a Red.
True.
I mean, it's still not chump change, but the fact that you can get a Red for a little more than you could a Mark III 5D was incredible for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Not anymore. They ran out of them pretty quick. But another blessing and curse is that with technology, the prices have gone down and the
Right.
quality has gone up.
Yes.
The great thing about that is if you're an aspiring artist, if you want to learn it, if you want to create something that's going to look cinematic, look great. I mean, I had VHS-C cameras. That footage looks horrible.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, there's about 3 different colors. Everything's blurry, and it looks glossy. Now, you can shoot with shallow depth of field, 1080p, 60 frames per second, and 720p. Even the GoPros, we have a GoPro as well, and you can shoot some great footage with that. So the problem is now everybody who purchases one
thinks they're
a filmmaker.
Exactly.
And they can be if they hone their craft. Maybe they go to film school. I think film school is a great tool for people. Not everybody has to go, but I think if you can afford it or if you have the time to go. I think it's a great idea. If not, hone your craft, learn your craft. And one thing I've told to many filmmakers here in San Antonio, local filmmakers, is always strive for excellence. Mm-hmm. Shoot the best video you can, the best audio you can, treat your cast and crew with respect, stay humble. If you have a breakout project, don't think that, I have my breakout project, now I'm better than anybody and I'm the pro and I'm the one. Because as easy as it is
you want to stay humble also.
Exactly. It's extremely important because as quickly as you can get up there, high in the rankings, you can fall much faster.
Right.
And I've seen that happen, not just locally, but, worldwide. You see so many filmmakers who felt they were too high and mighty or felt they were too, they've had too much pride. You have to have pride, but not too much, because then it'll always come back to haunt you.
I think one of the benefits in film school is the ability to form a team.
Agree.
One of the things about starting out of the blue is you don't know, everything from terminology to just the team is there to help you put together your project. And if you're not used to having a team, it makes it very difficult to accomplish anything. And especially if you start getting big in your head, that makes it even worse. So
exactly.
Agreed.
So there's a lot of talent, and there's people who are natural, who are naturals who, you'll just see them. Wow, that's some impressive footage. That's a beautiful film. There's some people who have gone to film school who can't create a decent film. I mean, so a lot of it's natural ability, but I would give a lot of it to training and studying and learning, because even though I never went to film school, I've read books, I've studied,
right.
I've studied this for years, how to create things. That's how I've learned how to do storyboards, After Effects, editing, all that, and then doing it.
And everything's money. I mean, everything is money. It's still as inexpensive as things have gotten to be able to do what used to be a multi-million-dollar editing suite down to a couple of $1,000s.
Yeah.
The Red itself, tries to replace a $100,000 camera for tens of thousands, if not less. But
exactly.
Well, let's finalize this. How can people follow you?
Well, on Facebook, if you go to facebook.com/Odyssey Creative Entertainment, that's our Facebook page. And then, of course, if you want to view our works, YouTube, youtube.com/Odyssey DVD, ODYSSEY DVD, like a DVD player. So youtube.com/Odyssey DVD. You can watch just about all our videos. I actually have a collection of all our old videos. We used to call ourselves the Unusual Suspects. I think there's a TV show called that now, but back in the 90s, one of my favorite movies was The Usual Suspects, so we called ourselves the Unusual Suspects.
Funny.
And so I created a little collection of of bits and pieces of a lot of our shorts. And but they can go there. I'm on Twitter, but I think it's let me double check it, 'cause I think it's I forgot what it is. I'm not on Twitter quite as often.
Okay.
It's I'm more on Facebook than I am on Twitter, but I'll find out right now what my Twitter thing is. But yeah, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter is a good place. But I'm usually posting more information on Facebook. Like the music video we're going to be premiering, I'm going to be sending out invitations for an online premiere once once we get the final word and I get from the band, it's like, hey, let's get it out there to the world. Then that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, here's my Twitter at @RSalinas3.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
I should be doing a better job on Twitter. I'm also on Instagram and all those fun things, and even Pinterest, but I don't think I've ever logged on there once. but yeah, just check out our works. I send you the channel as well. You're more welcome to share it, and any of our videos you want to post, please feel free. I'm very grateful that,
I appreciate that.
You took the time to interview me, and I feel very humbled by it. I'm very grateful because, like I said, it's
well, I enjoyed the film. I enjoyed the series, and I just want to be able to share that talent with people. So what I'd like to do is eventually follow up with you on new projects that you're doing and stuff, and
sure.
And people get to know you a little bit better.
Oh, definitely. Well, thank you so much, and keep up with our stuff. The question I didn't finish answering was upcoming project outside of this music video. Before all these shorts, back in 2007, I wrote a feature screenplay called Solitaire, which is a spiritual martial arts drama, and it's what I'm gonna do is, after this music video is done, unless a great opportunity comes along where somebody says, hey, we're going to pay you a good amount of money to film this, I'm going to take a break because I need to get my focus back on that project. That's been my dream project to do. If I can get, like I said, if it can get the time and the money to be able to create it, I really think it's going to be something extraordinary. I've shared the script with some people, and they're trying to get it created. They're like, hey, we got to get this made. I'm like, I got a full-time job, got these other projects. Let me get those knocked out. But I want to spend that's the hard
thing with the entertainment industry.
Yeah, I want to spend the next few months not working on any projects and just focusing on getting that, bringing that into fruition, because that's my pinnacle right there. I think if I can get Solitaire created the way I envisioned it, I think it's going to be something different, and something that I hope we'll be able to touch people, and we'll be able to actually cause a movement. Because it deals with some very serious issues. It's the martial arts is a love I have, but it's also a way to sell the movie. It deals with very serious issues. It deals with like the crimes and punishments of violent offenders like murderers, molesters, drunken drivers, different human traffickers. It deals with a lot of the serious issues in a very serious manner. So now that we're done with Resident Alien, we're going back to the very serious, because I think in the entire script, I think there's maybe one part that there might be a laugh in. Outside of that, it's a very serious movie, and if we can bring it into fruition the way it's intended, I really believe it's going to be something special. So if I can find, that's one reason I created these other projects. Hopefully somebody out there will see the work and be like, I'm interested in your work. I'd really like to see what else you have to bring to light. And I'm going to do whatever I can to get this film made, and fundraising through, trying to set up meetings, doing whatever I can. But I feel that that's one of my purposes, is to get this film created. So we'll see what happens.
I appreciate your time. Thank you very much for coming on to the show. And we'll follow up with you. And ladies and gentlemen, just check out theloungenetwork.com, where you can check out the web series yourself. All right. That's it. That concludes our show. Well, thank you very much for being with us. Take care.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a great evening, my friend.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Once a year, they wear this strange alien skull tribal face paint. And their young participate in this bizarre ritual where they hang a symbolic beast from a tree and beat it with a stick till